Genesis 1:27. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created him. Male and female he created them. Galatians 3:28, New Testament. There is neither Jew nor Greek. There is neither slave nor free. There is no male and female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus.
The word Nari means a woman. It also means a person having neither an enemy nor a friend. Na means no, and Ari means enemy. Thus Nari means no enemy. The heart of such a person resembles a rock, which represents the limit of endurance and humility. Such a person, a man or a woman, is the real Nari, the real woman. She is the mother of the world, the Jagan Mata. The person who has that much endurance and humility is the real woman, the man amongst men. Such a person is the one that is really qualified for the infinite bliss. Why a woman is called a Nari? Because she has the natural qualities of mental forbearance. These days, however, men are teaching their women to lose that great natural quality of theirs. But this is a different matter. By nature, women have no tendency of making any enemies or friends, and that is the real sign of their being a woman. That is why the epithet Nari has been given her. A man who has in a similar way no enemies or friends should also be recognized as a woman, as a Nari. A Nari is always powerless in every way, and as such she is called Abala, which means no power. Such a woman is always Upasani Maharaj. In other words, she has those two qualities present in a rock: endurance and humility. Such a woman becomes the mother of the world, the Jagan Mata. If a man presents these qualities, he also should be called a Nari. such a man is the Satpurusha, the Sadguru. Even if a Sadguru happens to be a man, he is always addressed as a mother. We say, Sadguru, my mother, because he shows the qualities of a woman, of a rock, which has extreme endurance and humility. These are the natural qualities of a woman. In order that by associating with her, that one should be able to attain these qualities, one marries a woman. By marrying and by absorbing those qualities, a man becomes fully devoid of all desires and pride, and attains that infinite bliss, the state of Parama Purusha, the state of immortality. The object of marriage is thus to achieve the Akhanda Saubhagya, which means unbroken good, whole good, endless good, and to achieve the state of Amaradvya, or immortality. The man, being proud of his being a man, is not able to attain the state of Parama Purusha. It is hence that he has to marry a prideless Abala woman. The woman is naturally devoid of pride and power, and hence she alone is able to destroy that powerful Maya. It is thus essential that a woman should always be allowed to remain in her natural state. In her natural state of being devoid of pride and power, and not interfered with, nor misdirected, so that with her help one could easily attain the state of Parama Purusha and remain unaffected by the Maya. Those that you know who have reached the state of Parama Purusha, who have attained the highest qualities of being, devoid of pride and power, have done so with the help and support of a visible or invisible woman, and through her attain the state of Parama Purusha. It is natural that a woman being called an Abla and Nari must show the qualities borne by those epithets. Men and women who show such qualities, God is always with them. God is always with them. Recollect the story of Arjuna. When Arjuna became devoid of hate and envy, he became absolutely powerless to fight on the battlefield. He passed into the state of Abala, the state of a Nari, the very moment Arjuna passed into this state, Bhagavan entered his heart. At the end of his well-known advice, the Gita, Krishna told Arjuna that it was he who was destroying the whole army through Arjuna. That Arjuna was only the physical instrument through which Krishna was doing his work. Seeing his Abala Nari state, Bhagavan found Arjuna fit to receive the knowledge of Brahma. Arjuna had qualified himself to receive it by passing into the state devoid of all pride and power, the state of Abala Nari. This example at once tells you that a man desirous of attaining the highest state must first attain the qualities of an Abla Nari. Because a woman shows these qualities, God is always with them. Women like Sita, Damayanti, Tara, Vrinda, and Draupadi showed the qualities of an Abla Nari fully, and hence God made their hearts his abode. It was because of these women that their husbands turned out to be great, powerful, and famous men. It is because of those qualities the words Abla and Nari possess that they were chosen as the apt names for women. The real faith of a woman is to behave accordingly, and those that behave so, God is always with them. God is always with them. Lord Sri Krishna has said, Kirti Shir Vaksha Narinam Shmirti Meda Driti Kashama. In this stanza particularly, the word Nari has been used. The simple reason for using this word is to state that women who behave in accordance with the meaning of Abla and Nari are the women who are always completely devoid of pride and power. And this is the reason why Lord Sri Krishna resides in them. This state always shows fame, wealth, virtuous tongue, remembrance of God, virtuous reasoning, courage, compassion, calmness, and similar other Sadvika qualities. Sadvika qualities resides in them. Lord Sri Krishna resides in them. Lord Sri Krishna resides in them. These days, however, the women are forced to leave their natural qualities. become like men, full of pride and haughtiness, and thus expose the whole family to suffering and pain. Such women, who are made to leave their natural mode of life and behavior, bring forth a progeny that is bad in every way, which puts the family, including themselves, and the whole world to suffering and pain. The present women are thus have become useless for spiritual gains. This has led the menfolk to be more proud and haughty, and to the loss of their power of endurance. The real course for attainment of these qualities for a man, however, is through a woman having these qualities: to be actionless, to remain always calm and collected, to be fully Sadvika, to have all humility, to endure physically and mentally, are the qualities a woman is destined to have. And for a man to attain all happiness, it becomes a simple affair by his association with such a woman. That is the Siddhanta. It is the duty of the parents to cultivate these qualities in their daughters right from the start. It is the duty of the husband to cultivate these qualities in his wife from the time of marriage. It is then alone that the parents and husband are able to attain the fruits of the Sadvika qualities, and thus become qualified to have the infinite bliss. That is the truth. That is the truth. Whatever be the husband, may he be old, crippled, ugly, full of diseases, not caring for her, disregarding her, a woman who simply loves him, never leaves him, cares for him, looks after him under any circumstances, never retaliates or finds fault in him, but just goes on serving him with an ever-increasing feeling of love, is the woman with unselfish love. If the husband dies, such a woman loses interest in everything around, even in her own self. She only thinks of him in her wakeful state or in her dreams. She, in the end, joins with the Atma of her husband and attains that infinite bliss. That is the truth. That is the truth. That is the truth. A woman has to be devoid of independent actions, of enemies and friends, of any pride. It is the absence of these things that increases the power of endurance of a woman. As egoism decreases, endurance increases. As endurance increases, she attains the state of Abala. She now resembles a stone image. She shows the Sadvika qualities. It is God's will that a woman should have such qualities. In short, a woman has to be actionless, full of Sadvika qualities, like a stone. Almost a mass of only Chaitanya. A person who is lucky to marry such a girl, who would be careful not to mislead her from her path, is sure to attain godhood. What is the real purpose of marriage? It is to attain the subtle, invisible state. The subtle, invisible state only belongs to God. The subtle, invisible state only belongs to God. The wife is to take her husband as God. For what? To make him pass into the invisible state, and for herself to attain that state. Whatever is to be spoken should be spoken quietly. This virtually gives both of them the punya of observing the vrata of silence. If the husband and wife observe secrecy and external silence, in course of time they begin to understand what goes on in each other's minds. And with this, they begin to experience the invisible, subtle state of God. And the bliss they experience in that state is 1,000 times superior to the worldly physical happiness that they could have, that they could have, that they could have. All this suggests that the wife should not be used like any other object of enjoyment. For the attainment of the infinite bliss, it is essential to keep the wife safe from being enjoyed. After all, she is the principal means in its attainment. When both of them behave like that, then they will have followed the sastras, in that the wife calls and treats the husband as her god, and the husband also behaves with her in that relation. These days, unfortunately, men do not allow women to remain like that. It is a blunder they are committing. They themselves are full of Rojaguna and Tamaguna, and force their women folk to be like them. The net result is that none, neither the men nor the women, are able to get the natural advantages emanating from Sattva Guna. All these considerations lead to the conclusion that for attaining happiness, spiritual or temporal, or that infinite bliss, or passing beyond the state of births and deaths, or attainment of high mental or supernatural power, or the good of the world, or the good of the country. In other words, for happiness in every way and in every walk of life. The most essential things are those two: endurance and humility. By attaining these qualities, one gets a huge mountain of punya. And as a result of this punya, all happiness, temporal and spiritual, becomes easily available without almost any effort. With the same end in view, it is customary to dedicate even one's own daughter, born of oneself, to God. Dana is a dedication of a thing with all reverence to a person who is taken to be God. A daughter then has to be given to God. That is why during the marriage ritual, a daughter is given away as Dana to a husband who is taken to be the form of Narayana. These days, however, grown-up girls who are ignorant, who are trained in avidya, are interested in and love the modern civilization. In old days, the mother-in-law unnecessarily troubled the daughter-in-law, and the daughter-in-law used to submit quietly to all those privations. That has been the natural attitude of both. The daughter-in-law was thus trained into endurance and humility. The mother-in-law was careful enough to increase those qualities and stabilize them in her daughter-in-law. Such suffering on the part of the daughter-in-law washed away not only her sins, but her husband's as well. As the daughter-in-law becomes the embodiment of endurance and humility, her husband becomes naturally infused with those qualities, leading to the ultimate emancipation of that couple. It is for this reason, with a high motive in view, the mother-in-law always criticized and abused the daughter-in-law. The son also used to feel for the unnecessary suffering his wife was put through by his mother. But he used to control himself and remain quiet, and thus increase his own power of endurance. It is due to the wife that the boy learned to endure. 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 As a mother or mother-in-law, she had to be respected by both of them. She she naturally had the best interest in her heart of both her son and his wife, and hence she wanted both of them to learn to endure. For the son and his wife, the mother thus becomes a book to teach the lessons of endurance. For a son, his parents are God. He should behave with them as he would with God. In a family, the family relations do have their sway. Of course, this is sinful, and it leads to innumerable births and deaths. Often, the wife only calls her husband God, but does not behave with him in that way. This always leads to untold suffering for births on end, and the chance of attaining infinite bliss is lost forever. There is a saying, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. This means the world is but a family. The world is a family of the Sadpurusha. The father, mother, the children, and all the relatives constitute a family in the worldly sense. There are families consisting of 100 members. The head of the family has to care for all of them. God, or the Sadpurusha, similarly, has to care for the whole world. That is,